Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Awesome Possum Classroom. Today we will be reading All About Worms. It's a kindergarten story that is nonfiction. We will be discussing facts and opinions and main idea and details. All About Worms is written by Mary Ann Marazzi. Earthworms are amazing. Earthworms live in soil. Most earthworms are small. Earthworms live in soil. Some earthworms are big. Earthworms live in soil. Most earthworms are brown. Earthworms live in soil. Some earthworms are red. Earthworms live in soil. A few earthworms are blue. Earthworms live in soil. All earthworms have rings. Earthworms make the soil good for growing plants. That's the end of our story, boys and girls. Do you remember a phrase that was repeated over and over again in the story? If you said earthworms live in soil, you are correct. The word in was repeated over and over again. The author wants you to learn and remember the sight word in. Let's talk a little about fact and opinions. A fact is something that can be proven to be true. Nonfiction books are made up of facts. We can prove the statements in the story Earthworms by looking at the pictures. We can prove that the things the author is telling us are facts by looking at the pictures. An opinion is something you think and may not be what other people think. For example, you may think that earthworms are the coolest creatures on Earth. I may think that earthworms look slimy and ugly. Let's look at the question. Some earthworms are big. Is this statement a fact or an opinion? And how do you know? Is this statement, some earthworms are big, a fact? Yes, boys and girls, it was a fact. It was a fact because the text told us that some earthworms are big and some earthworms are small. We could prove that statement, some earthworms are big, by looking at the pictures. Earthworms are amazing. Is this statement a fact or an opinion? And how do you know? Well, earthworms are amazing is an opinion. You may think that earthworms are amazing, but I may think they're slimy and ugly. Let's look at the next question. How are red, blue, and brown earthworms the same? Well, here are 2 pages from the story that will help us determine how these earthworms are the same. It says, earthworms live in soil. Do red, blue, and brown earthworms live in the soil? Yes, all earthworms live in the soil. Let's look at this next statement. All earthworms have rings. It says all. Does that include red, blue, and brown earthworms? Absolutely. All earthworms have rings. So, all earthworms will live in the soil, and all earthworms have rings. That's how they're the same. Here's another statement. Earthworms make the soil good for growing plants. Does that include all red, blue, and brown earthworms? Yes, it does. So there are three ways that earthworms are the same. Red, blue, and brown earthworms are the same. They live in the soil. They all have rings. And all of the earthworms make the soil good for growing plants. Let's talk about main idea. Main idea is what the story is mostly about. Use the title to help you find the main idea. The details tell you about the main idea. So we're going to use an ice cream cone to help us determine the main idea. Now, all about worms. It said, use the title to help you find the main idea. Well, the title, All About Worms, is the main idea. This story was pretty easy to find the main idea because it was in the title. Now we found the main idea, All About Worms. Now we need to come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 details that support the main idea, that tell all about worms. What was the phrase that was repeated over and over again in the story? Earthworms live in soil. That is a detail that helps support all about worms. Let's continue finding more details from the story by looking at these three pictures. I see a blue earthworm, and then I see a brown earthworm. The story said that earthworms come in different colors, but they also come in different sizes. This is a large earthworm, and this is a small earthworm, and this is a large earthworm. So a detail from the story could be earthworms are different colors and sizes. If we go back into the story, we see a picture with an earthworm with rings. Remember, the story said earthworms have rings. If we look at this picture, boys and girls, we see a picture of the earthworms in soil. Remember, the text said that earthworms are good for the soil. So now we've completed our details on our ice cream cone. Our main idea is all about earthworms. All of these details have to support all about earthworms. Our first detail was all earthworms live in the soil. That is a detail about earthworms. Our second detail was earthworms are different colors and sizes. That supports all about earthworms. Our third detail is earthworms have rings. That supports the idea of all about earthworms. And finally, our last detail is earthworms are good for the soil. That tells us about earthworms. Let's take a quiz on the story All About Worms. Question number 1. What is a fact about earthworms? Remember, a fact is something that we can prove. A. Earthworms live in water. B. Earthworms live in soil. C. Earthworm eat plants. What did the story say about all earthworms? B. All earthworms live in soil. The story did not mention anything about earthworms living in water or earthworms eating plants. Number 2. What is a detail from the story about earthworms? A. Some earthworms are blue. B. All earthworms are the same. Or C. Earthworms have legs. Well, boys and girls, C, you know C's not true. Earthworms do not have legs. So let's look at A and B. A detail. What is a detail? All earthworms are the same. Are all earthworms the same? No. Some are blue, some are red. Let's look at A. Some earthworms are blue. Is that true, boys and girls? Absolutely, that's a true statement. So, what is a detail from the story? Some earthworms are blue. We can't say B, all earthworms are the same, because they're not. That's not a detail from the story. And we can't say C, earthworms have legs, because that's not a detail from the story, and that's false information. We know that earthworms do not have legs. Let's look at question number 3. How might the earthworms have gotten its name? How might the earthworm have gotten its name? A. It looks like a ball. Ask yourself, does an earthworm look like a ball? No. B. It is a round body. Well, kind of round, but it's long. Or C. It lives in the earth. Earthworm, earth. What do you think the answer is? C. You're absolutely correct. The answer is C. Let's look at number 4. Why did the author write this story? Was it to inform the readers about earthworms? Was it to entertain the reader about earthworms? Or was it to persuade the reader about earthworms? If you said A, to inform the reader, you are absolutely right. This story was written to inform you about earthworms, to give you information about earthworms. It wasn't written to make you laugh, and it wasn't written to try to get you to persuade you to buy an earthworm. It was written to inform you about earthworms. Let's look at question number 5. Listen to this sentence. All earthworms have rings. What is a ring? Is it a long rope, a circular band, or a small body? Circular, boys and girls, means round. Listen to this sentence. All earthworms have rings. What is a ring? Is it a long rope? Is a ring a rope? A circular band, a round band? Or C, a small body? If you said B, you are absolutely correct. That's the end of our story, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed reading All About Worms. Thank you for reading along, and come back another day for a new story from the Awesome Possum Classroom. Bye-bye.